Hey, it's Marilyn. I am a Melco certified trainer, and today I'm going to talk to you about monogramming a baby beanie. So when you're monogramming anything, you always want to figure out where the monogram goes while the hat or the bag or the shirt is in its finished position. So this is its finished position. So now what I did was I found my center and I used a stick pin because the stick pin helps me remember where the top of the monogram is going to be and where the bottom of the monogram is going to be. So the top of the pin is always going to be the top of my monogramming, and that's the reason that I use a pin, because I'm about to flip this hat inside out. So basically I measured from here to here and then here to here to find my center, but I also want my center to make sense because this is the center of the cap, and so I want to make sure that my center is going to line up with that seam, right where the baby's little face is going to be. When you do these types of caps, I highly recommend that you not go through 2 layers, because this kind of thick spongy fabric, if you monogram through both layers, the monogram is going to kind of sink into the hat and it's just not going to look as good. So if there happens to be a little stitch right here for the cuff, sometimes there'll be a stitch right there and it will keep the cuff up and it makes it very hard to hoop. You can probably just unstitch that cuff. It's usually just 1 or 2 little stitches, and so you can pull the cuff down because it's going to make it so much easier to monogram. I don't think your customer will mind because the monogram is going to look so much better if you just go through 1 layer, but of course you may want to ask depending on the personality of the customer, but it will look so much better if you just monogram through 1 layer and not 2. So basically, I took the hat like this. Now I'm going to flip the hat inside out like that. Tags are on the outside. And then here's where I have my pin. Again, I see that this is still going to be the top of my monogram, and that's going to be the bottom of my monogram. I'm going to use a 7511 ballpoint needle. I am going to use 1 piece of 3.1 ounce cutaway backing. And I'm also going to use a piece of water soluble. Now, water soluble is normally for things that have a pile, and you certainly don't have to use it in this instance, but I've done enough of these hats to know that a piece of water soluble really does make a difference because this fabric is very spongy and the monogram kind of wants to sink into it a little bit. Water soluble will make everything look better, but we're trying to make money. So let's not put water soluble on everything. But again, I've learned that it really does make this hat look so much better. So what I did was I hooped it like this. You can see that the back is hooped all the way around. I have backing all the way around. I can play a drum on it. I have my 3.1 ounce on the back and my water soluble on the top. And you can also see that I have the hat pinned down to the backing. The reason that I pin the hat down to the backing is because I don't want it to move while it's sewing. I don't want the hat to actually move. So because the hat doesn't 100% fit into the hoop, I just pinned it down, and that way it won't move. So in your design shop, you have different categories for your different alphabets in Design Shop. Well, one of the categories, it's new to Design Shop. I got it on my last time that I upgraded the software. It's a category called Handwritten. And under Handwritten, there is a font called Hillmont. And that is the font that I'm using today. And I will reference all the settings that I used for this particular design. So we have the smallest arm in the industry, so no problem getting something very small like this onto the machine. So I'm going to put this on the machine. I'm going to pull the hat below the bobbin area, and then what I want to do is I want to press the laser button, and I want to see if the laser button is right where I measured, right where my pin goes into the hat. I want to make sure because that's where I want the center of my monogram to be. Now, if it were not exactly where I wanted it to be, you're going to use your rectangle and your arrows to get it over to where you want it to be. So for right now, I'm just going to press the laser button. Okay, so I'm a little bit off. So what I'm going to do is it looks to me like I need to come over a little bit and up a little bit. There we go. So now I'm right exactly where my pin went in. All right, now I'm going to trace it out. So rectangle and star, I'm going to trace it out. Make sure it's exactly where you want it to sew. Now I'm going to take that pin out, the one that was showing me where my center was. I'm not taking the pin out that was holding the hat down to the backing. I'm only removing this pin like that. So I'm leaving that other one there. This design is 1,400 stitches per minute. So if you're running your machine at about 1,000 stitches per minute, then this is going to take about 1.5 minutes. And this customer wants me to run 3 hats. So in less than 30 minutes, you can make $45. She wants the same font. All I had to do was change the color on each one. All right, let's press go. Going to take 1.5 minutes. All right, so it's done. So I'm just going to pop it off the hoop. I'm going to remove that pin, that one that was holding the backing to the hat. I'm going to take the water soluble and pull it off like that. And I can see it left a little bitty piece. So what you can do is you can spritz it like this. That's just water. I just spritzed it with water. Put this down flat like that, like a Band-Aid, and just rip up any extra solvay that you had on there. Now I'm just going to cut the backing off. So whenever you're cutting the backing off, you always want to see your item when you're cutting so that you don't cut the item. You want to cut close, but you don't have to get so close that you mess up what you just did. Okay. And then you're just going to flip it back the right way. Just like that. And because we didn't sew through 2 layers, we don't have to worry about the little monogram touching the little baby's head. And there we go. We have a monogram beanie for Peter.